Welcome to the Sun and Fun 2021 Quick Take episodes. All right, we're here still at Sun and Fun 2021 and want to stop by and see Dennis here, the Aerolite 103. There's a few changes that have been made since I visited last, which was just a few months ago. Surprised all of us, teasing us with some stuff on social recently, flying electric. Yep. So can you tell us a little bit about what happened in the last few months on the Aerolite 103?
Yeah, sure thing. This is a project we were working on for about 15 months or so. This is actually the second aircraft we've had the electric propulsion system on. We did quite a bit of testing and tweaking to get it to where we want it, but now we have got it to the point where we've got an operational system with 4 batteries that gives good climb performance, economical cruise, and provides about an hour's worth of flight time.
And what was the... we saw this just a few months ago, so you've had a test phase, but like you said earlier, you've been testing it for quite some time. What does a test phase look like on something like this?
Well, with the electric propulsion system, and there being, you can make adjustments to the controller, adjustments to the RPM on what the motor turns. There's a lot of programming there. It's not like a gasoline engine where I change 2 jets in the carb, change the prop pitch, and I'm good to go. There's a lot of trial and error to get it to where we have a good balance of performance for climb and still have a cruising parameter there where we're not consuming an exorbitant amount of energy. That's how we get the duration out of it. So that's the process for us to get it to the point where it's at today.
Okay, and like most aircraft, you use a lot of fuel and power on takeoff, then you can pull back to a cruise setting. What would be the cruise setting and even RPM? Is it different compared to your 2-stroke? Do you operate different RPMs or different prop now? Or
yeah, it's completely different. We have a motor on here now that has a maximum RPM of 2,000. It's running direct drive. There's no reduction or gearbox associated with it. So engine or motor RPM is prop RPM. And as we've got it configured currently at full power in a climb, and we're climbing about 500 feet per minute, that is running about 1,700 RPMs or so. We bring that back to a cruise speed of about 45 miles an hour, running down in the 1,300 to 1,400 RPMs. And at that lower RPM setting, that greatly increases the duration of the flight. If we say it's an hour's worth, or roughly an hour's worth of time. The flip side of that coin is if you go out and say, okay, I'm going to do pattern work today. I'm going to do takeoffs. I'm going to climb to 800 feet. I'm going to come back and do a touch and go. You're going to consume the available power much quicker because it's disproportionately high in that climb. So what would give you an hour in climbing up and cruising now probably will give you 30 or 40 minutes of pattern work.
And that lower RPM, and correct me if I'm wrong, with an electric motor compared to a gas or diesel even, you've got whatever the torque is available from the very first RPM.
Yeah, correct. That's right. That's the great benefit of electric motors is basically unlimited torque. So providing climb performance is easy. It's finding the balance that gives you cruise performance with that is the sweet spot.
So a lot of props you try not to run above like 3,000 RPM anyway, but being you've got the torque or power available instantly, you can operate at a lower RPM and have a bigger bite on your prop.
Yep, that's correct. And there's virtually no motor noise with this. So the prop, there is certainly noise coming from props. A lot of times you don't hear that with a 2-stroke engine because the 2-stroke engine is overpowering that. But when you have a prop turning at 1,400 in cruise versus 2,200 or 2,300, there's a noticeable difference in the sound coming from the prop. This is the only aircraft I've ever flown with no hearing protection. I can get in it, I can fly, I can land, I can go talk to people without screaming and going, what are you saying? It's really, really quiet.
So other than like a tachometer, I would assume you'd want more information from this. So what kind of control module or whatnot or instrumentation would you use with this type of motor?
Well, we have what we have in there currently for testing purposes is an iPad with data from the motor coming by Bluetooth from the controller. The production stuff has a hardwired display that shows you motor functions, although those don't always mean a lot to the average pilot, but it shows you motor functions. But there's also a display that will tell you at any given power setting where you are at, you have X number of minutes of flight time left. If you increase that power setting, that changes going down. If you decrease it, it goes back up.
Okay. And is there any, I think you'd mentioned earlier, we're talking about, like warning signs, what's built in to alert somebody. You're down to, what is the go, no go, or hurry, go back home, I guess, warning sign at 30%, 20%?
We are partnering with great companies like Dynon Avionics, Airworx, Airtech Coatings. These sponsors make all of this original aviation content possible. So I invite you after this video to check out the links below and say hello to our sponsors. Tell them you found them here on the Experimental Aircraft channel.
Well, the percentage depends on what you're doing with it at that given time, because it's drawing different amounts of power from the batteries. The average pilot really wants to know, how many minutes do I have left where I'm at right now? If I'm 20 minutes away from the airport and my display says I've got 30 minutes of flying, everything's good. The average pilot doesn't really care how many volts they have or how many amps they're pulling or whatever. It's meaningless to them.
How much oxygen do I have left?
Yeah. So we really designed that system for the operational purpose to give the pilot, he can take off, he can climb, he can look and say, this is how much longer I can fly. That's really what everybody is looking at. Same as if you're looking at your fuel indicator on a gasoline powered. I've got 3 gallons left and I'm burning 3.5 gallons an hour. I'm doing the math in my head. I know how much I have left to go.
Well, let me ask you, the big question is why, or what's your why for doing this on this platform?
Oh, well, our airplane, the Aerolite, we have always thought it would be a good candidate for electric propulsion because it's light and it's fairly clean compared to most ultralights. So we knew we could do it. Our biggest challenge is always finding the time to do it. So we've had this on the back burner for about 3 years or so, and finally got it into motion 15 months ago, and now here we are. But the biggest attribute to this is it is incredibly quiet. Not only from the cockpit, but if you talk to the people that we've flown overhead here and passed on the flight line, everybody says the same thing. Gosh, I can barely hear that. It's so quiet. And when you're taxiing, I've had people tell me, they were walking up to it from halfway down the exhibit area here, and they saw it moving, but they heard no noise coming from it. So, yeah.
All right, well, thanks for taking a minute to explain the new addition here. Obviously, you're still building the airframe and offering the 2-strokes available. And which models of the 2-stroke are you offering as an option?
We have 2 Hearth engines and 3 MZ engines. The MZ201 is the most popular gasoline-powered motor we're using currently.
Awesome. Well, where can somebody get in touch with you to order one?
Best place is through our website. It's www.fly103.com.
Perfect. Thanks for the time today.
All right.
Would it be possible before we get too busy to not obviously really spool it up, but just to be able to hear what it sounds like, or is it too...
We have to push it onto the flight line to do it.
They don't want any spinning props out here.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Experimental Aircraft channel. Remember to like and subscribe. Check out our brand new website at experimentalaircraftchannel.com. I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.